It is Nomad Brad coming to you from my box truck. We're doing it a little early today. We got a minute and a half head start. So the spoils go to those who sign up early, hang out in the waiting room. I appreciate you guys for being here. Additionally, we're back in widescreen mode. Nomad Brad figured it out. If you were here last week, we were vertical, and because they changed the app up on me, but I got it. We overcame and conquered. So we're back on widescreen mode, so you guys can see a little more of the scenery. And if you're watching on an iPhone, on a phone or a tablet, I think you can just turn the device sideways, and it should go full screen. So, and I got glasses on. I'll actually take them off a little bit. It'll keep me from looking around and getting distracted. Happy to have everyone here. How are you guys doing? How do I sound? Hopefully I sound clean and clear. Let's see what's going on with the chat. Top chat. No, live chat. Let's go. Who do we got here? What's up? Man, you guys have already been active in the chat, having conversations. John C. Going to be a little tardy tonight as I have a recognition dinner to go where I volunteer. God bless you for volunteering, John C. The people appreciate you, no doubt. We got Will Ty here, looking very good, Brad. You're moving along at a pretty good speed. Look forward to tonight's live stream. Thank you, Will. Appreciate you. We got Super Dave here. Super Dave in the chat. Happy to have you. The chorizo will wait. You know it. We got Charlie Pepin here. Mr. 305. Mr. 305. Is that Florida? Is that Pitbull's thing? Mr. 305. From Pembroke Pines. Yeah, Florida. Yeah, Mr. 305. There you go. Tim Simmons is here. He's a channel member. Happy to have you, Tim Simmons. Dino's here, also a channel member. Happy to have all my members in the chat. Bella is here, stopping by to say I can't wait. I've got it on my calendar. Bella came in early, 4 o'clock p.m. She was 2 hours early just to say hello. Hello, Bella. Happy to have you. We got Slugworth here, throwing up the hashtag Team Foothills as always. Happy to have you here, Slugworth. Thanks for joining us. It's calm, cool, about 90 degrees up here in Sholo, Arizona. I say it's cool because it's probably cooler than Yuma, but pretty nice day. The sun is out. I can't really complain. Got the ladder set up. We're going to go on the roof in a little bit, and I'll show you guys some progress. Fill you guys in on the box truck updates, the build updates, let you know what's happening. Keep you guys in the loop. I appreciate you joining the live streams. That's the best way to connect and find out what's going on in the moment. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll back. Let me go through the chat a little bit, and we'll wait a little bit. Let the stragglers come in. See what's up. We got Flipper here. Hello, Flipper. Happy to have you. Says love this channel and everything that it offers. A free exchange of ideas, and it's already taught me a lot about living off the grid. Just happy to be on board. Thank you, Flipper. Happy to have you here. We got Revo Runner. What's up, Revo? Happy to have you. Kevin Gonzalez is here. Nick the Sunbird is here. Robert Allman's in the chat. Hello, Robert. Happy to have you. Victor Hewitt. We got King Gamer. We got the admin King Gamer here. He's ready to ban people if anyone gets out of line. King Gamer's going to smash it down. King Gamer was looking at an Isuzu box truck. He's getting close to buying one. He might not have purchased one he was looking at quite yet, but he's getting close. He's getting warm, as you would say. He's getting warmer to a new box truck home. Happy for King Gamer to finally reach that goal. We got Paramount Performance. We got Cryptic Response. AJ's in the chat, part of our Lake Havasu box truck crew. Happy to see you here, AJ. Looking forward to getting together with all the crew this winter down in southern Arizona. I keep meeting more people, more box truck folks. We're going to have a pretty good turnout at Schoolie Palooza. Hanif is here. You did your hair. I did. I got it cut last week, I think. Pretty happy with it. Walmart took care of me. I got the rollback haircut. She did not too bad of a job. I'm happy with it. We got David here. Jonathan Rome says we all voted more Nomad Dad videos. I gotta say, I'm super surprised to see how much you guys Love watching Nomad Dad. He's made a cameo in a couple videos. We got him to say a couple words on the last video. He was pretty excited about the roof caps we installed, gave us some thumbs up. So, uh, Nomad Dad's definitely going to be back. He'll probably come help me. Let's see, what's today? Wednesday? So I probably won't have him help me till next week. I got some things coming up this weekend, and I got a solar install coming up Monday, and so for somebody else, not for me. And so probably next week I'll have Nomad Dad come through, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or something. Get some more projects going, and let's see. So where am I at? I'll fill you guys in. So I actually had a meetup today, yesterday, and today. Let's see. Larry from Work Less, Live More Life. Larry came through. He was coming from Arizona, like central Arizona, heading over to he's going to the East Coast somewhere, southeast. I think he said Louisiana maybe, gonna get some work done. But so he came through and stayed the night here at the compound here in Cholo, Arizona. So Larry came through, met him in person. Super nice guy, really happy to hang out with him. He couldn't stay very long, he was just passing through. But we hung out, did some chatting, and he's a good guy. So I had a good time hanging out with him, and he helped me on a project. So I'll show you guys what we did, what me and Larry did today. And we worked on getting the solar panel mount rack set up. And so what I did is I kind of explained to you guys earlier what I'm going to do for my solar panels on the roof. I'm using this Unistrut. You guys can get it at Home Depot or at Lowe's. And so this goes up on the roof, and then the solar panels will lay perpendicular across the Unistrut. There's going to be two of them, and the solar panels will lay right across. And then there's these clamps you can get that I ordered off Amazon, and so they slide right into the track, and they allow you to clamp the panels down to the Unistrut. And so the nice thing about doing this Unistrut method is that you can easily reposition the panels. So if you decide you want to change your configuration or move them or adjust them, or you want to totally switch out your panels, you can do so pretty easily. You just loosen a couple bolts and you can slide them around. So here's what we did today. The roof of the box truck is a thin piece of aluminum, so there's not, like if you were going to drill the Unistrut through the roof, all you're drilling through is 1/8 of an inch aluminum. It's not very sturdy. So what I came up with, if you see these wood boards up here, this is the wood slat from the wall. I took off a couple panels of slat all the way around just to save weight, and also that's where my windows are going to go. So I wanted to, just remove them to make the window cutouts easier. So what I did is I cut the wood, I cut the wood slats in half, and then I cut them down into smaller sections that fit right between the uh, the crossbars on the roof. So if you see the wood coming this way, we basically have one on each side in each bay. And so what I did with the wood is I sprayed them with this is like a rubberized coating. It came in a can like spray paint, but it's a rubber coating. So I wanted to make sure that when the wood is touching the roof, the wood itself wasn't touching metal, just in case there's any condensation issues and to kind of prevent any type of thermal bridging. The rubber should help provide a little bit of insulation and just keep cold from transferring a little bit. So the way it works is we got the Unistrut on top of the aluminum on the roof, and then we got this wood paneling underneath, basically like this. And if you can just imagine, there's a thin sheet of aluminum in between. So I used a big screw and a washer to go through the holes in the Unistrut, and it basically sandwiched the sheet metal of the roof in between this structure. So it makes a really tight, strong bond for the Unistrut on the roof. And so you can see That's what all these wood panels are here. So this is all the wood that's sucked up to the roof. And then on the top there's Unistrut. And so what we did today is Larry was down in here on the step stool, and he was holding the wood up in place against the ceiling. And then I was on the roof with my drill drilling down into the wood. So he used a tape measure, he lined everything up, made sure it was straight, and then held it for me while I drilled against it. And so I'll take you up on the roof and show you guys what it looks like. It turned out super well. I'm really happy with it. Um, and what else? The other thing I noticed is it actually made the roof a lot more stable. So I'll show you guys. Surprised you drilled holes in your roof. Everybody says that, but the thing is, you're gonna have to put holes in the roof. And if you think about it, every RV has holes in the roof. RVs have holes for max fans and skylights and air conditioners and plumbing vents. So having holes in the roof is not uncommon. It's very, very common. And as long as you seal the hole properly, it's not an issue. Most people that get freaked out about holes on the roof are just people that are unfamiliar with, RVs and uh, box trucks in general. But it's really not something to be worried about. So here is the Unistrut. And so if you look down, uh, I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a weird shadow. But anyway, there's uh, there's a washer right in between, and then there's the screw in between. So it's sucking the Unistrut down to the roof. It's very firm. Like if you try to grab it and shake it, it doesn't even move. And then what's interesting is now when I walk on the roof, there's almost no flex. So like for example, if I walk back here, like, can you guys see that? Can you see the flex in the roof? You can maybe hear it, but you can see the roof flexes quite a bit back here. But if we come over here to where the Unistrut's at, and we do the same thing, it really doesn't even move. There's no popping sound. It's very, very rigid. So having those wood strips underneath just adds strength to the roof itself. So it worked out very well. We have two 10-foot sticks of Unistrut, and it's going to continue down. I have another 5-foot stick, but I didn't do that today. It was starting to get hot, so we called it quits after we did these two sections. So maybe when Nomad Dad comes through next week, we'll just go ahead and put down the final 5-foot strips. But this will allow me to lay my panels uh, like this, long ways across the roof, and then I'll be able to adjust them if I need to. So pretty happy with the progress, how it all worked out. Happy for Larry's help. Give you guys a little shot. Bam. So overall, super happy with it. The Unistrut definitely strengthened the roof. And so once I go back and complete it, then I'll have a really tight, strong roof layer. And additionally, the um, having the solar panels on the roof will also kind of help add rigidity to it, because we'll have the big panels laying across and they'll be braced and they'll all just be kind of tying in to this roof system. So, and then the other good news about it is now that I have the wood panels in, I'll be cutting foam. I got some sheets of foam there. So I'll be putting foam in the gaps in between, and then I'll go ahead and spray the edges with some spray foam to kind of tighten it up again, and that'll just add even more rigidity. And then when it's time to do the ceiling, I'm going to be using that white 1/4 inch kind of beadboard, the same stuff that I have on the ceiling in my Econoline box truck. I'll be using that same paneling. It's basically just 1/4 inch panel board, so I'll be able to cut it and screw it into those wood strips, right? So the wood strips are not only a mounting point for the solar rail, but it also will be an attachment point for my ceiling panels. So it's multi-purpose. We're happy about it. And yeah, all somebody asked about video footage. All this is going to be in my regular published videos, my Sunday videos. But for those of you that come to the live stream, you kind of get a sneak peek, before the videos go live. And so the footage of installing the solar rails with Larry will probably go out next Sunday. It won't be this Sunday's video, but it'll be the next one. And I have solar panels coming in from Sun Gold Power, so they're supposed to arrive Monday. So it's possible for next Sunday's video, I might be able to actually mount the panels and have the panels installed, which would be pretty cool. And then as soon as I get the solar panels installed, I can plug them in to my Blue Eddy Apex 300 down there and charge that up. And then I'll have basically a temporary electrical system. And then I'll really be able to run tools or lighting or whatever I need to do. And it's gonna be pretty fun. So I'm excited about it. Let me hop back in the chat here, see what's going on. Jumpin' Johnny, 420. Are you sticking with the 24-volt system? I am, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sticking with 24 volts. As far as a battery bank, I'm planning to use my Epoch lithiums I have. I have two 12-volt, 460 amp hours. So when I wire those in series, I get 460 amp hours at 24 volts, which is a lot of juice. That's over 11,000 watt hours. So that's going to be plenty for me, and it'll be a good match for my solar panels. So I'm planning to transfer those batteries over into this rig. And then when I sell this rig, I'll have to put in a different set of batteries. Peggy's here. She says, you can see how much better the roof is. Thank you, Peggy. Appreciate the confirmation. Yeah, the Unistrut turned out really awesome. Super happy about it. And it's really easy to do too. It's uh, not too crazy. It doesn't take too much math or planning or anything. So it worked out pretty good. Yeah, I won't have room on the roof for a rooftop deck. I'm gonna fill the roof with solar panels. I have a rooftop deck on this box truck, but um, the reality is I should have put another panel up there just to get more solar. So yeah, there won't be a deck, but this box truck, it is gonna have the fold down rear deck. So I'm still gonna have a nice outdoor space that's elevated to hang out. So I'm super happy with that. Kevin Gonzalez says Larry is a cool guy. Glad you guys got to hang out. Yeah, me too. Kevin's super cool, or Larry's super cool. And so I was talking with Larry, and he was saying he might want to do some type of a YouTuber meetup. So I might be doing something with Larry Larry over the summer. We might go and hang out with maybe get together like 4 or 5 YouTubers, and I don't know, just some kind of hanging out, travel. It might be fun. AJ says, what size panels? Quantity. So I'm doing Sun Gold Power, and so um, the biggest panels Sun Gold makes is 550-watt panels, and that's what I wanted. I mean, if I could have any panel, Canadian Solar makes a 700-watt panel, which would be badass, and I could fit 4 of them. But they're hard to get a hold of, and you can't really buy them in small quantities. Like you have to buy them by the pallet. And And where I'm at up here in Cholo, Arizona, there's not any like good deals on panels. Like if I was down in Phoenix, I could probably get like some 650-watt panels, but the biggest panels that you can really get shipped to you in like single quantities are 550s. And so that's what I was gonna do. Unfortunately, Sun Gold was actually out of stock on the 550s, and they're not even gonna have more in stock until he said 2 months. So I just went ahead and took 4 of their 500-watt panels. So I'll have 2,000 watts on the roof, and so we'll try that out. And so the panels are, no cost to me in exchange for creating an install video. So I'm basically getting them for free. So I'll try them out and run them, and I'm sure they'll perform well. And if I decide I want more power in the future, then I can always just upgrade them. So I'm not, and that's what's great too about this rack system, right? Is if I decide I want to put on four 650s, I can swap them out in an afternoon without too much trouble. So I'll be starting out with 2000 watts. We'll see how that does. And then if I want to upgrade, I will. And one thing I'm doing on this rig is I'm running two charge controllers. So I'm going to have two panels, four panels total, two panels per charge controller. So what that means is I can mix and match my panels. So another thing I could do is right now, four 500-watt panels will get me 2000 watts. But if I wanted to, I could install like just a pair of 650s and keep a pair of the 500s, and then I would have 2300 watts. Or I could put on a pair of 700s and keep a pair of fives. So I got a lot of options to kind of play around with. So we'll see what happens. But at least to start with, I'll have 2000 watts, four of the Sun Gold 500-watt panels. So super excited about it. Happy that Sun Gold stepped up as a sponsor, and they're going to send me some solar panels. Let me hop back in the chat here. I saw some questions scroll in. Flipper is asking about efficiency. Yeah, I think I would look them up, but my phone is being used for the live stream. But I think efficiency is around 25%. Now, what they're rated at is what they output, right? So if they're rated at 500 watts, that's the output. They're not putting out 25% of that. They're putting out 500. But it means I think that means if they're putting out 25% and that's 500, then in theory, they should be collecting 2000 watts, right? 5 1. They're bringing in 2000 watts per panel and they're outputting 500. I think that's how it works. I'm not really sure. But imagine if they were 100% efficient. That would be crazy. Okay, let's see. Let's hop back in the chat, see what's going on, answer your guys' questions. Slugworth. Slugworth is here. He says, "What did you use any sealant for the holes you drilled?" Yeah, I'm gonna come back. So the roof already has that rubberized coating on it that I added last week, and I'm gonna come back and uh, put adhesive sealant on the edges of the unistrut, and then also go over each screw and washer. So, and that'll be with a Dicor lap sealant. So that's something I didn't do that today, but I'll do that maybe next week after I get the rear unistrut installed, and I'll go back and seal it all together. So we'll definitely use Dicor. Really is the best type of sealant because it remains flexible. And the other biggest benefit with Dicor is that you can go back and you can add more sealant. So like if I needed to go back in a year and add more sealant on top of the existing Dicor, you can do that. But if you use silicone sealant, silicone will not stick to itself. So if you need to reseal something that's been sealed with silicone, you have to scrape off all the old stuff, clean, and then start from scratch. So that's why um, most people use Dicor on RV roofs because you can go back and touch it up if you need to. We got Kendra Miller here. She says, starting my journey Saturday, my best friend and two fur babies. I purchased a 17-foot with a 2-foot attic. I'm binge watching the videos you have showing how you did it. Awesome, Kendra. Congratulations. Yeah, if you go back to my playlist, I created one for this U-Haul truck with the grandma's attic. So I covered how I did all the installation and the wall panels and quite a bit. So if you want information before this one, because you can watch that now, this one won't be done for quite a bit. So feel free to go back and watch that playlist. I think it's called DIY Box Truck Build, but you can find it on my channel. Van Life Adjustment says, how long are you in AZ? I'll be up here in Sholo at least until September. EC Dow Psalm, I don't know. It says, do you ever do meet and greets, box truck tours? Yeah, I'm planning to do one in Phoenix this winter, and I'll maybe do one in Yuma as well. Marcus Allen says, for the rear deck doors, would you consider researching Kusa board? I have no idea what that is, but I'll look it up. Shirley, did you mention you were gonna do a shower toilet? Good hair vibrations. Thank you. Yes, there'll be a shower and toilet in this one. We got Charlie here. Love your videos. I'm retired and try to watch all of them. From Texas. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate you. Diana Sailor says, what is the usual spacing for unistruts? Um, so on mine, I brought them in 26 inches from the side of the box truck. So the panels, the solar panels themselves are like 80, they're like 84 inches long. And so the way it'll work out is I'll have like 40 inches basically in the middle and then a unistrut, and then there'll be 20 something inches hanging off each side. So that's how I'm going to space them out. Uh, we got Cole Scar here. He joined as a silver nomad. Thank you. I appreciate you becoming a channel member, signing up. Each dollar helps. It goes to the box truck build. Help these build materials ain't cheap. Let's see what else we got here. Big T, hi from Michigan. Hello, Big T. Happy to see you. I'd love to visit Michigan one day. Nick says, on average, how much watt hours can you produce? Do you have an opinion on the Never inverter 12-volt rooftop AC, the newer? Um, so I have 1200 watts on the roof of my current box truck. The national average on full solar in a day is 5 hours. So if you took 1200 times 5, that would be how many watt hours I can bring in a regular day. And then typically you want a battery bank to offset that. As far as the rooftop ACs, I usually don't recommend them because they take up valuable roof space where you should be putting solar panels. And so that's why I use mini splits, because with a mini split, I can use the whole roof for solar. If I had a rooftop AC on this unit, I'd be giving up a huge chunk of rooftop space. And instead of having 4 solar panels, I'd only be able to fit 3. So I'd be limited to 1500 watts instead of 2000. So I really don't recommend that people use rooftop air conditioners. The RV industry uses them because they're easy and cheap, and that's all that existed, 30, 40 years ago when they started building RVs. All they had was rooftop units. Um, but and the thing too is the RV industry, they don't care about you being off grid. They're just selling you a rig. They're planning on you either plugging into shore power or running your generator. So most commercial RVs, they have so much crap on the roof, all the vent fans and skylights and plumbing venting and fridge venting and air conditioners that most RVs, you can't really be fully off grid with them unless you do some type of a huge rack over the top of everything, over your air conditioners, which you can do, but it gets very, very expensive. Um, so I really don't recommend rooftop ACs for that reason, especially on box trucks. If you have a smaller box truck, a 16 foot, 17 foot, I mean, you need all the roof space you can get for solar panels. All right, let's go back and see what we got. Lots of questions in the chat today. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to try to get to everybody. Zelman says, when will you be done with your build? I have no idea, brother. I'm just getting started. The panels are not bifacial. No. Jumpin' Johnny says, I'm going to be using the Sun Gold system and thinking about switching up to EG4. Um, oh, am I? No, I'm not using any of that. I'm using Victron. I'm not using an all-in-one inverter charger. I'm doing Victron stuff because I want their advanced monitoring. That's the only reason. If you're doing an all-in-one, it doesn't matter if you get Sun Gold or EG4. It really doesn't matter. The only time it matters when you get into the big stuff, like the big 48 volt, like 5,000, 6,000 watt inverter. If you're doing like a full house and you need like 240-volt power, but for a box truck, you really don't need 240. And so I don't really think it matters. I would just get whichever one is you think the best deal. HBA Dave is asking about security cameras. Yeah, I'm putting cameras on the roof. I'm gonna have two PoE cameras on like a swivel mount, and so those I'll wire those up a little bit later, but I will have cameras on the roof. Zellman said, would these builds be possible without solar panels? Yeah, just like an RV. I mean, you'd have to use a generator or plug into shore power. That's what most RVs do. Charlie said, what's the negative of a 48-volt system? Most everything I have is 110, not 12-volt. Yeah, you can do a 48-volt system. Um, the only negative of a 48-volt really is that you have to step down all your power for your low voltage. So like I'm doing 24 because I can run my water pump, my refrigerator, my diesel heater, and all my LED lighting at 24 volts. So that's more efficient when you don't have to convert it. If I did a 48-volt system, um, then I would have to step down all the voltages from 48 down to 24. But if you're doing mostly 110 or 120-volt AC, then yeah, you can do 48. On a 48-volt system, also, you do need to have um, higher solar panel voltage because a 48-volt battery charges at like 50, 52 volts. So, most solar panels are going to be, even the big panels are only like 46 to 50 volts. So basically, as long as you have a couple big panels in series, then you can charge up a 48-volt system, no problem. Levi Brown says 2K worth of panels, what brand and size controllers? The solar panels are Sun Gold Power. I'm doing Victron charge controllers. I'm doing two of their 150 volt 70 amp controllers. So that'll give me flexibility in the future if I want to upgrade to 650-watt panels. Bella says everything's looking good. Thank you, Bella. I appreciate it. Dan77 says, let's go. Peggy said, what size is this van compared to your other one? So this van is 16 feet long, 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall. My previous van is 12 feet long, 7.5 wide, 7 feet tall. So this one's a little bit bigger. The biggest difference is the length. I get an extra 4 feet of living space. And so that's going to allow me to um, put in a wet bath and have just a little more room inside, have a big kitchen island, a big kitchen with an L shape. So it's going to be a lot better. Out and About says my audio is low. I can bump it up. There's bumping it up. Is that better? I bumped it up. I bumped it up a notch. Let me know if that helps. Okay. What else we got? Go into the chat. Doofus named Rufus. Join Silver Nomad. Thank you, Doofus. I appreciate you. Kendra Miller, one question. What do you think about using a starter, alternator, battery, and a belt to create constant power station? Um, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I mean, you can run a power inverter off your alternator if that's what you want to do. You can do that. You don't even need to upgrade your alternator. I don't know what you're talking about with the starter. But the thing is, it's only going to work while you're driving. So you can also just add a DC charger that will charge your battery bank. But otherwise, I don't know why you would have an inverter running off your alternator. But you can do it. You can do it if you want. Levi says, I'm doing a rooftop AC for a cleaner look. There you go. You're absolutely free to do that, my man. Concerned citizen, are you putting a washer and dryer? Come on, man. No way. No way. I only do laundry like once every 2 weeks. I wear black t-shirts and I change it every 3 or 4 days. So I can easily go 2 weeks without doing laundry. I just swing by a laundromat. Um, a combo washer and dryer is going to take up space. Plus, it uses a lot of water. So it's not, no way. No way. Super Dave is here. He says, I'm working on a slider rack system where 4 panels stay on the roof and 4 panels slide out. Yeah, that's something else you can do. I've seen people that have slide out solar systems. Motley Rue says, what happened to your solar truck? It's right here. It's right here. I'm living in it while I do this build out. It's still with me. Uh, let's see what else we got. Marcus Allen, how big is the inverter? I'm doing the 24-volt, 3,000 watt Victron. And then the Victron, it can put out more, right? Like 3,000 is the rated power, but it has like a boost mode. I think it can put out like more like 5,000 watts if you need it. But all I have right now is a 24-volt, 3,000 watt, and it does fine. I mean, I can run the air conditioner, the induction cooktop, the instant pot, and the TV, the lighting, everything at the same time, and I don't really need more wattage. So there's no that's the thing is if I wanted like a 5,000 watt inverter, that would be a reason to go to a 48-volt battery bank because it's easy to get 48-volt 5,000 watt inverters, but it's not necessary. But I'm doing a 12-volt fridge or a 24-volt fridge, 24-volt diesel heater, 24-volt water pump, 24-volt lighting. So a lot of the stuff will not be running off the inverter anyway. Jedi CS says your build is almost exactly the same as mine. Happy to hear it, man. We got similar ideas. Camp Vinny says your audio is fine. Flipper says it's better. I'm happy that sounds better. Happy to bump it up for you guys. Levi says I remember asking about solar that can run my AC 5 years ago and I got laughed at. Yeah, it depends, Levi. If you're talking about a regular rooftop air conditioner, like 5 years ago, they didn't have all these DC rooftop compressors. And so a traditional air conditioner that you buy like on the roof of a RV, those things pull like 14 to 1500 watts per hour. For example, when Larry was here, he got a brand new truck camper and he was telling me his AC pulls 1500 watts. And so it's the absolute power hog. I mean, that's twice the power my air conditioner pulls at max. And my air conditioner only runs at max for a little bit and then it drops down and it only pulls 300 watts. So if you have an old school air conditioner, like what would have been available 5 years ago, you'd be pretty hard pressed. Even if you have 2,000 watts on the roof, if you have an AC pulling 1,500 watts per hour, that's not leaving you much space for your other components and also to charge the batteries. And the minute the sun goes down, you're going to be running directly off battery power, and you're going to need a awfully large battery bank to run a traditional rooftop AC. Rhymes with orange. It says, is there a lift gate? No, there's no lift gate. HBA Dave says it's too loud. I can't help you guys. I can't make everybody happy. Turn your volume down, man. I am. It says, what about putting a rack on the roof with panels at a slight angle on the left, another angle on the right? Yeah, I'm just doing mine flat. The thing is, if you have them angled, I mean, I guess you could, but if you have them angled, you'd have to always be parking so that the sides of your rig were facing east to west, right? Because the sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. So, in order to get the best efficiency, you'd have to always be parking with your cab north to south, with your panels east to west. So that's not ideal. When you're out living, stealth camping, parking, you don't want to have to worry about which direction you're parked. Um, so I just do flat mount. It's fine. Audio was okay. I'm turning the audio back down. I guess it's too much. Okay, it's back down. Back down to normal. Sorry to the person that wanted it louder. Everyone's saying it's too loud. It's clipping. So sorry. You gotta turn up your speakers. Okay, what else we got? Camp Vinny says I'm living in a camper in 55 plus in Mesa and want to get solar panel to charge my 1,000-watt power station. Yeah, I mean, if you only have a 1,000-watt-hour power station, you can just get a, I don't know, like a 250-watt or a 300-watt panel, and that'll be fine. That'll charge it up in a day. Is this a but? Someone at concerned citizen said, "Is this the biggest box truck you could have gone with?" This is the biggest one I want because it's 23.5 feet bumper to bumper, so I can still park pretty easily in a regular space if I can hang over a curb. But if I go any bigger, then it's going to limit me on parking. Free energy I don't know what a free energy generator is. Uh, 2 solar controllers. Yeah, my thought too with the double solar controllers is I've never had any issues, but if one fails, if I have a solar panel go bad or a charge controller goes out, then I have a whole separate system that'll be able to run at 100% efficiency. Audio was better. Yeah, I put the audio back lower. I hope it's fine. Kelly says, I can't wait till you have a new dog. Thank you, Kelly. I'm looking forward to it. It was cool to hang out with Larry and his dogs today. It really, made me excited to get mine. I'll be looking for one this spring, either this winter or this spring. As soon as I get this box truck like livable, where it's pretty comfortable, then I'll look at getting a puppy. Feeling good about it. Flipper says, let's get Brad at least 40K for his old box truck. That's the plan. I'm sure hoping. We'll see what happens. I gotta probably August. I'm gonna have to sell this thing. Super Dave says I found some 24-volt batteries with 314 amp hours. Wow, that's massive. Absolutely massive. HBA Dave said it looks like the solar panels on the ground are not there. No, they are. They're still there. The guy came back though. That's Jerry. He lives in that big class A. And so he was in Yuma for a while, but he came back. I've been talking to him. He's a good guy. And so I think he just leaves those out to trickle charge his RV's house batteries. He's got like I think like 400 watts. Let's see what we got. Cruising through the questions. Appreciate you guys keeping me busy. Do you use a power station for portability? Yeah, I do. I have actually Blue Eddy just sent me their newest power station. It's Elite, I think it's the Elite 100. It's pretty small. It's powerful though. It's 1,800-watt inverter and 1,000-watt-hour battery. So I do keep one with me. I use it for the most part for solar installs. So if I need to like do heat shrink on a roof or in a vehicle that doesn't have power yet, then I can take my power station and plug in my heat gun. So that's pretty much what I use it for. And so I'll continue to use that smaller power station. Slugworth says, "Are you going to have a small separate diesel tank?" Yeah, my new box truck here is a gasoline engine, so I'll have a small separate fuel tank for the diesel. And that's what I've done in the past in all my rigs. I mean, I've had diesel heaters for like probably 4 years now. And so I just use the little, 2-gallon fuel tank that they send with it. And that always works fine for me. I don't use my diesel heater very much. If I am using it, it's only going to be for like a couple hours in the morning when I wake up, and that's it. Like I don't run it in the evening. My boxes are super well insulated, so I like to sleep with cooler temperatures. So usually by the time I go to bed, it's still pretty comfortable, and then it gets cold overnight while I'm sleeping. But I prefer that. I like to sleep in cold weather. And then in the morning, if it's cold when I wake up, I'll kick it on for a couple hours before I get up. But when I use it like that, um, It'll last me like 4 or 5 days on a single tank. So I have no problem topping it off every 4 or 5 days. Turbid said, "Would you ever consider living in an RV?" Absolutely not. No, no. The reason I do box trucks is because you can custom build them to your specifications, and you can build them with quality materials. RVs are put together pretty poorly. In fact, if you look at reviews, you can go buy a brand new $300,000 RV, and you can look at some of the tours and walkarounds, like inspection videos, and they're put together like crap. Um, so no, I would never live in an RV. RVs are pretty much for people that just want to buy something, and they don't want to have to do the work, which is fine. But if you have the skills to do the work yourself, you're going to get a much better quality product if you build it yourself. Levi Brown said, "What's your wrap logo gonna be?" Yeah, I mean the wrap's gonna be for my business still, my solar business, but I'm gonna change the logo. I'm not sure what yet, but it's gonna be my decision. We're not gonna have a vote on that. Well, I'm not doing a landscaping company. I'm doing my own company because it brings me business. Uh, Goody the J says, "Hey Brad, would it be feasible to buy a very large amp hour power station?" Yeah, you can. You definitely can. So um I have the Blue Eddy Apex 300, which is hold on, let me move this down. It's this guy right here. And so the nice thing about this is the inverter is actually 3,800 watts. So this is actually a bigger inverter than what I have in my current box truck. And then you can get one of these. They got a bunch of plugs on them. And then also you can run the power from this into a breaker box. So you can still have regular outlets throughout your home on wheels that are powered from this. And then additionally, you can buy expansion battery banks for this. So the built-in battery is 2,700 watt hours, which isn't much, but you could buy another 3 expansion batteries, and you'd be closer to 10,000 watt hours. So something like that's totally doable if you really don't want to do electric. And of course, you can plug your solar directly into that. That Apex 300 accepts up to 2,400 watts of solar. And you can also directly plug in their DC to DC alternator charger. So nothing wrong with doing power station only if you want to go that route. Just keep in mind the only problem with the power station is if it fails on you, if something's wrong with it, you got to buy a whole new unit, and you're not going to have any electrical in the meantime. Versus with a custom system, if your inverter goes out or a charge controller goes out, you can replace one component and the other stuff will still work. But with this thing, if one thing goes out, the whole thing's toast. So, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. So let's go back to the chat, see what's going on. Stefan W. With gas expense, do you really save money not paying rent and utilities? Absolutely, you do. Absolutely. Um, I mean, I don't know what you're paying for rent, Stefan, but most people that have their own apartment, you're paying at least 1,200 bucks a month, and then you got to pay all your utilities, water, sewer, gas, garbage, electricity, uh, whatever else fees are involved. So I'm sure you're going to be 15 or 1,600 bucks a month out the door. Um, and then on top of that, you still have to pay for transportation, right? So most people still have a car, or they do Uber or Lyft, or they take a bus. So when you do the math, it's still cheaper to live in your vehicle. Also, you don't have to travel a lot. You know what I mean? Your fuel economy is not a your fuel expense is not fixed, right? Like your rent is a fixed cost. Every month you got to pay that same amount no matter what. In a van, if you're not having a good month, you don't have to drive that much. You don't have to travel. You can just live in a city, and you can drive a couple miles every few days and you can spend almost nothing. So it's always cheaper. It's always going to be cheaper. In fact, even when I was living in San Diego, gas was like 5.50 a gallon, but everything in San Diego was within a 10-mile radius. So I was living in one of the most expensive zip codes in the country, paying the most money for gas, but I only filled my gas tank like once every week and a half. So, which what is it? What was it to fill my gas tank? Like 100, maybe 120, $130. So that would be like $350 a month. So, I mean, where are you going to find a place to rent for 350 a month? You're not, especially not in San Diego. HBA Dave says, "Are you going to do camping with this rig?" Absolutely. Yeah, this rig is this rig is absolutely going to be used in the same manner as my last rig. I'm still going to be traveling through cities doing stealth camping. I'm going to be staying in parking lots and side streets and commercial streets and residential neighborhoods. So I'm doing the same stuff, man. It's not going to change. As soon as I get the build out done, then I'll be back to making more of those type of videos. Flipper said you could make a huge amount of money by doing a crowd-funded vinyl wrap on the box truck. What do you mean by that, Flipper? Please explain. Explain what you mean by that. I'm curious. Peggy says I was looking into buying an RV and no thanks, they're junk. I agree with you. Christy says I took a break from packing to catch the live stream. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate you. Cruz says, can you travel to Michigan to do an installation? I cannot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. That's too far. You have to come to me. Jackie says, is humidity a problem living uh, in a smaller space? Not really. I lived in my current box truck in Austin, Texas, a couple of years ago through summer. And I have that mini split, and the mini split also works as a dehumidifier. So I didn't have any issues with humidity as long as you're inside the rig. Super comfortable. Revo says I own my own house, but I want to do a box truck conversion when I retire in 6 months. You should go for it, man. It's super fun. In LA, some are 2K a month. Yeah, like for an apartment. Yeah, absolutely. You're paying all of your rent up front. Well, it depends though, right? I mean, I'm doing a really fancy build because I want to and I can afford it, but you don't have to. When I had a shuttle bus 3 vehicles ago, it was very cheap. I bought the rig for 5 grand and I only spent probably $3,000 in build out materials. I left the existing floor, the existing ceiling. I just put up some curtains and a couple cabinets, and I had a single 350-watt solar panel. So don't think that box truck built that living in a vehicle has to be expensive because it does not. There's a lot of people that live in minivans and shuttle buses and things that are cheap. So you can have whatever you want. You can live in a cheap vehicle or you can have an expensive vehicle. And keep in mind, I've been doing this for 7 years and I've been building and selling vehicles along the way to get me to this point, right? So the money when I sell this RV here, the one I'm currently, or the box truck here, the one I'm currently living in, when I sell it, the money, the sale, the proceeds from the sale of this box truck should cover the complete build out of this vehicle right here. So I'm not out of pocket for this build out. And I wasn't out of pocket for my last box truck because I used the money from the sale of my previous vehicle. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta work smart. My entry door is on the passenger side. For some reason, when I live stream on my iPhone, it flips the image. So this is my left hand, and this is the passenger side of the vehicle. I don't know why it flips it, but from what I can tell, there's no way to change it. Diana Sailor in the chat. She says, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Diana. We got 390 people watching, 169 likes. That is pitiful. Help me out, my friends. Hit the like, spread the word. There's 170. Let's go. Thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Stefan W says, how do you park in residential areas without being reported? So the thing is, guys, there's a lot you don't know. And there's actually here's how I know this. When I lived my previous life as a heating and air conditioning technician, and I owned a house, I had a work van that was wrapped in the company logo of my heating and cooling van. And guess where I parked that van every night after work? I parked it on the street in front of my house. And the reality is, most service workers, plumbers, electricians, heating and cooling guys, furniture guys, a lot of them take their work vehicles home at night and they park them next to their house on a residential street. So if you guys don't work in the trades, you probably wouldn't be aware of that. But the reality is, it's very common to see work vehicles parked overnight in residential. It's very common. And so that's how I do it without getting reported because it's not uncommon. And the other thing too is, I could be visiting somebody. If you're just in and out for the evening and you're pulling at night, park, get up and leave in the morning, you're fine. No one's going to report you. The problem is if you overstay your welcome and you try to stay in a residential street in front of a house for 4 days and you're walking around outside in pajamas and setting out a lawn chair, then the neighbors might call the police. But if you just are respectful and you mind your own business and you're in and you're out, nobody's going to hassle you. And I've never been hassled in this box truck, and I've parked it all over the place. In fact, when I was living in Austin, Texas for a year, I parked it all over in residential downtown Austin. In fact, I had a lady friend in Austin, Texas, and I parked it on the street in her neighborhood, her like kind of upscale Austin, Texas neighborhood. And when I parked it at her house, I was staying with her in her house, and it was just parked on the street, right? So nobody said anything because for all they know, just like what I was doing, I was in a house visiting somebody. I wasn't living in it. People don't know. You got to realize most people aren't really paying attention to what's going on. They're just doing their own thing. The Oasis Verde says, would you recommend this for someone working 9 to 5 or remote working? Yeah, I recommend it for anybody that wants to save money. And the thing is, if you're working a 9 to 5 in a fixed location, you might have a little more of a challenge just because that rig is going to be parked like in the same place, almost every day. Um, so it might draw more attention, but I think you'll be okay. Versus like what I do, I travel, so I'm moving through a city. I'm in different parts of a city. I'm not really hanging out in the same place day after day. I might stay a couple days in one spot, but then I'm moving on. So it's something to think about, but it's totally viable. Justin says, how long to complete the box truck? A few months. A few months. I'm not sure. R&D says, am I doing heated electric floors? No, I'm not. No, I've been living in vans for 7 years, guys. It's not that cold. I mean, the thing is, I follow the good weather, right? If I was gonna live in my rig on the East Coast in the winter or in Colorado in the winter, then I might consider heated floors. But I don't. I follow the good weather. I spend winters in Arizona, and then I spend summers in somewhere warm. So I'm not in cold weather. So I'm not doing heated floors. Cruz says any phone number to contact you for a consultation. Yeah. Yeah. There's a link in the description that goes to all my contact info. I have a website. It's solairservice.com, and you can call me from there. Aaron says, I own a house, mortgage is great. The plan is to rent out the house and live in a box truck. Yeah, that's a good choice. If you guys have a house, but you want to do this lifestyle, you don't have to sell the house. You can rent it out and then just travel in a box truck. And then you got a fallback plan. If something goes sideways on you, you can go back to your house, kick out the tenants, and it's all good. Minnie says Texas humidity ain't no joke. I'm northeast of Austin. I hear you. Yeah, I know. I was there firsthand. It's too much. I ain't going back. It's too much. Jumpin' Johnny says, how much holding tank? I'm doing a 50-gallon freshwater tank. I haven't picked out my water heater yet. John C is back. Hello, John C. Happy to have you here. Just got back home from an event. How y'all doing? We're doing good, John C. We're just doing the thing, talking about box trucks, living in vehicles. Aaron's asking if I know any nomads that rent out their houses. Um, I know of nomads. I don't know any personally. Well, yeah, I don't really know any personally, but I know that there are nomads who do it. Know It All Nerd says, "Are you gonna do anything special when you hit 100K subs?" I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Maybe I'll get a 100K cake. I'll be excited for it though. I'll definitely be proud of that moment. Tim is here. I'm a new member, joined 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you. Appreciate the contribution. Uh, Herb conclude says, "Love the channel. Do you think the peak of van life is over because the social media hype?" Uh, yeah. So let me scroll through this really quick. Man, there's a lot of chats. Yeah, so I've been doing van life 7 years. It's changed a lot. When I first started out 7 years ago, it was mostly people doing it for the adventure. It was mostly either retired people that just wanted to live cheap and just kind of hang out, or younger people like me that were doing it because they wanted adventure and they wanted to get out and travel. And a lot of them wanted to do Instagram, right? That was the main reason. But what I've noticed is over the last few years, especially since COVID, there's been a lot more people doing it. Um, there's been a lot more people doing it specifically to save money. As the economy's gotten worse and rent has become more expensive, and now there's a lot of people. I mean, back when I was doing van life in the beginning, people weren't really living in cars. That wasn't a thing. Now there's a ton of YouTube channels of people just straight up living in cars because that's what they got and it's cheap. So things are definitely changing. Um, I don't think vehicle dwelling is going to go away. Keep in mind, a huge chunk of the American economy is still based around vehicles, gasoline tax, auto part stores, auto mechanic shops. The RV industry is still huge. There's got to be hundreds of thousands of retired people in America that have RVs. So they can't just flip a switch and make that illegal. What they can do is they can make city ordinances where it's illegal to live in a vehicle on the street. A lot of cities have done that, but the enforcement isn't really there. So it's just one of those things where I'm sure over time, they're going to make it more difficult because what they want is they want you owning nothing. They want everybody renting forever and paying into the system. That's what they want you to do. They want to basically uh, whittle away at your savings and your retirement and just force everybody to be paying everything on a monthly basis. That's their goal. That's why they're shifting towards everything is rent based, rent economy. Um, that's why car loans are going to 72 months. They just want you to perpetually be paying rent. So I think it'll be more difficult, but I don't think it's really going away 100%. And what I see in the future, which would be more realistic, if they really do start cracking down on vehicle dwelling, like what I'll probably do is I'll probably just be hopping between privately owned property. So like right now, I'm staying on a friend's. privately owned property in northern Arizona, and I have friends all over the country that I know that have invited me to stay with them. So, what I pretty much expect in the future, if they really crack down, is that I would just basically, rather than being spending a bunch of time camping, out on public land that might be closed, I'll just spend more time staying on other people's property, or I might buy my own property. That is a goal of mine in the next few years to buy my own piece of land, but I still want to travel. So I'll have to figure that out. But the thing is, you can't sit around and worry because then you go nowhere, right? Then you're just going to be in the same situation, right? Like if you're in a situation now where rent is expensive and you're trying to figure a way out, but you worry yourself into thinking, well, van life's going to go away in 3 years, then you're just going to rob yourself of potentially 3 years of freedom. And who knows, it might last for another 10 years. So it's important not to get caught up in fear and worry and just do what's best for you and try to live your life. But I really don't think vehicle dwelling is going away. It's definitely picked up. Like I said, with people living in cars and stuff, it's picked up. So I really don't think it's going to go away. Let's see what we got. Diana Saylor, can a first timer do a DIY mini split? Yes, Diana, you can. So if you get the DIY version of the mini split, which is what I installed on my Solar box truck, it's pretty simple. You don't need any special tools. And you can definitely book a call and I can walk you through it. It's very simple, no problem. And you can run it off your power station. So I can show you how to hook up a mini split to run off your Oops power station, no problem. And yeah, Flipper says no loitering, don't be conspicuous. Nomad Brad knows how to do it. That's another reason I'm doing the stealth box truck. Even if they crack down on uh, living in a vehicle, if I park, in a commercial part of town in this huge ass box truck with a big vinyl wrap that says solar installation, I mean, guys, really nobody's going to suspect I'm living inside. And they're really not going to be able to prove it, right? Because when we're talking about like law enforcement writing tickets and stuff, if they just drive by my box truck at night and I'm inside and the lights are out and the blinds are drawn, they're not going to know there's anybody inside. They're going to have no proof. So they're not going to give me a ticket. Doofus says, buying my first box truck this summer. We'll come to see you to do solar if you're willing. Yeah, happy to hear it, Doofus. I'll have a lot of videos, DIY build videos out by the end of summer. So should be a good resource for you. We got a Kong in the chat says, enjoy your videos, super chill seeing places you go, and your van is nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Uh, I'm going to be doing a bunch more traveling as soon as this build is complete. So a few months, and then I'll be back on the road again. Stefan W says, how do you deal with number two? I have a toilet. You just got to get a toilet, man. It's not a problem. Ant Man says, buy 100 cars for 100 subscribers for 100K like Mr. Beast. Yeah, if I had Mr. Beast money, I'd be happy to buy 100 cars. Herb says Nico lives in his Tesla. Yeah, he does. I camped out with Nico a couple months ago, and he's still out there doing it in his Tesla. He's crushing it. He's doing really good on YouTube. So if you guys want to see a car camper, you can follow Nico. Polymath is here. Greetings, Polymath. Conservative thinking says Social Security does not cover a regular lifestyle. That's true. Yeah, you can't rely on Social Security anymore. You got to figure out something else. Or if you're going to do it, I mean, if you're going to try to live on Social Security, living in a vehicle is going to be your only option. because rents keep going up. No matter what apartment you get, inflation and increased rent is going to outpace your fixed income, 100%. HBA Dave says, what I saw was advice to do it now. Absolutely, do it now. Go for it. Go for it. Go live the life you want. Don't ask for permission from the government to live the life you want. Go out and do it. Jedi CS says DIY split systems don't exist in Australia. Huh. Yeah, America's definitely got some more freedoms. Over in Australia too, you guys are 220 volts, I believe. So that might be part of the reason. I don't know if there's like a concern with higher voltage appliances, but yeah, I love the 120 volt DIY systems. The Oasis Verde says, "What do you think about aging out, retiring from van life?" I mean, guys, when I got into van life, I was watching Bob Wells. How old is he now? He's got to be close to 70. He's still doing it. Everybody here on this property with me, there's two other gentlemen here. They both got to be in their 60s. One of them lives in a minivan in a Honda, I think it's a Honda Odyssey, and then the other gentleman's in a Class A. But I don't think aging out of van life is really a thing. Um, I mean, unless you get some debilitating disease, right? That's the only caveat. If you get some serious condition where you can't drive, but for most people, that's not going to be a problem. My dad still lives in his RV. He's up here right now in Sholo in his RV. How old's my dad? He's in his late 70s. Peggy says, I don't think this lifestyle would be going away. I agree. Yeah, so Jedi says, I live on SS in my truck for 6 years and still save money. Yeah, exactly. If you're living in a vehicle, you can save money uh, on SS, but that's about the only way. Eunice says, did you put spray foam on the roof? Under the wood slats? No, I didn't. So the wood slats, um, I used a spray-on rubberized coating on the wood slats, but I didn't put any other insulation underneath them because it's basically the same thickness as the metal roof panels, so it's going to be flush just like this. So, um, but I'm going to insulate all the other spots in the roof, and then once the rigid insulation is in, I'm going to go back and spray foam it. So there'll still be a little bit of insulation up there, but nothing under the slats. Chrome is old. He's got to be 60s. Yeah, exactly. Chrome from Van City Van Life. He's got to be in his 60s. What's your typical expense per month? Um, it depends. Like right now, I'm not even hardly driving. I just go into town once a week to get groceries. So, monthly I spend 150 bucks on Starlink, about 100 bucks on my cell phone, 50 bucks for insurance. That's like 300 bucks. Um, maybe 100 bucks a week on groceries. So that's 700 bucks. And then between like my YouTube premium and some other odds and ends. I mean, I'm under 1,000 bucks a month. So it's pretty good. And if I was traveling, if I was like driving more, then it would probably go up to maybe 1,400 or so if I was driving a lot. But even still, 1,400 a month, that's for everything, right? When people talk about rent, your rent doesn't include your internet and your cell phone and your groceries. Rent is only rent. So my expenses are right now under 1,000 for everything. And if I was traveling, spending more on gas, I would still be maybe 1,500, but that's for everything. So it's incredibly affordable. Chrome is only 50? That's crazy. He looks, I don't know, he looks older than that. Maybe he's like in his mid 50s or late 50s. Chrome looks pretty old to me. He's got to be up there in his 50s. Maybe not 60s, but he's got to be at least in his mid 50s. Or maybe he just had a I mean, maybe he just had a hard life. Yeah, Nomad Dad's in his 70s and he's still helping me renovate box trucks. So I got pretty good genes. I'm sure I'll be at it for a long time. Jumpin' Johnny says you should write off all your expenses. I do. Yeah, all my expenses for my build videos I can write off against my YouTube income as long as I use the products to make a video. So that's what's nice about it. How do you manage healthcare? I don't have healthcare. I don't have health insurance. I haven't gone to a doctor in like probably 10 years. I don't take medications. I eat healthy and take care of myself and I don't go to the doctor. When I get older, I'll need to do something, but I'll figure that out when the time comes. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm coming up on 40. I should have a good 25 years before I have any crazy health problems. He just turned 50. That's crazy, dude. Chrome looks a lot older than 50. No shade on Chrome, but he does. He looks older. That's crazy to me. Revo Runner said one bedroom apartments in my city are 1,700 a month. Yeah, so there you go. 1,700 a month plus you got to pay groceries and cell phone and internet and everything else. I mean, you got to be 2,500 bucks a month out the door. Jay Will says cell phone sounds high. Well, I do payments on the phone. So I've been paying about 100 bucks a month, but it's for unlimited data with AT&T. And T. And then also I think my data plan is like 50 bucks a month. And then I think the lease on my phone is like 40 bucks a month. And then, it's no interest, so I don't mind doing financing or doing payments. And then I have insurance on the phone in case I break it or something. So between all that, it's like 100 bucks a month. And then also I have a tethering plan which allows me to use my data on my laptop, but I should cancel that now that I have Starlink. Peggy says I'm 67, not on any meds, wouldn't take them anyway. Eat healthy and exercise. There you go. That's the move. That's the move. Ponka says, how do you meet friends? Honestly, most of the friends I have, I've met through Instagram. They're other nomads. So, no, a lot of nomads use Instagram as kind of a way to connect with each other and stay in touch while you're traveling. You can watch where other people are at, watch their stories. Dino's out. Good night, Dino. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out, and see you on the next one. Um, so yeah, that's really what it is. Is I meet people through Instagram, and then we meet up in person, then we hang out, or through YouTube. Like I just met Larry through YouTube. He's a super cool guy. So I have no doubt that I will be hanging out with Larry in the future. I think he'll become a good friend. And so we already talked about doing some traveling and some future plans together. And then all my other, nomad friends, Sir on Dave and King Gamer and, Mark from Wanderbox, I met all those people through Instagram initially and then, connected in person. Jonathan says not to be nosy. How's the dating life? Dating life as a nomad it's not easy, because most people, whatever age you are or demographic you're in, most people that you would want to date are not living in vehicles. Most of them are living in sticks and bricks. And the thing is, when you're a nomad and you travel, you're going to be away for a long period of time. So I don't think it's very realistic to be in a relationship with somebody that's not a nomad. So you basically have to date somebody that's also living in a vehicle. So it's difficult. It's very limited. In fact, I was just talking to Larry about that yesterday. He said because he was living in Arizona as like a home base for a long time, and he said he met a girl on like an Arizona singles Facebook page, and they got to talking, and she seemed pretty cool, and he told her what he did, and one of the first questions was like, "Oh, well, how long are you gone? When will I see you again?" All that type of stuff, right? So you really can't date somebody unless they're either traveling with you in your vehicle or they have their own vehicle and they're also traveling. That's just the way it is. Um, so I mean, I've been single for a long time, long, long time. I've had a few girlfriends here and there, nothing long term. And so I'd like to have a girlfriend again, but it'll take a very specific person. So yeah, we'll just, cross that bridge when it comes. We got Winnie here from Malaysia. Good morning. Good morning, Winnie. Happy to have you in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Lionel Rodriguez says, I love your content very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am for I am. I live in South Dakota. Yeah, so people are asking about residency and license plates. You can't just claim any state you want, um, but you can use a friend or family's address. I use my dad's address in Arizona. Um, you can use a friend and family member in a different state. I know there's a website called dirtlegal.com, and it allows you to register your vehicle in, I think it's North Dakota. And so my friend Sir on Dave did that with his box truck. And so even though he's in California, living in California, and his home base is Texas, he was able to register his box truck in North Dakota just on the internet through this website dirtlegal.com. So you can look into that as far as registration and stuff. Oh man, we've been doing it 81 minutes. Oh man, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for the evening, guys. I'm getting tired. I gotta go in and make something. I appreciate everybody for being here. I'm gonna have a video going live Sunday. It's gonna be a good one. You guys make sure to tune in for it. And check in next Wednesday and see what's new. And I'm sure there'll be a new project that's been completed. I'm sure Nomad Dad will have come and helped out with something else. So I appreciate you guys for being here and tuning in. I always enjoy the live chats we have together. So that's it for me. I'll see you next week. And appreciate you for being here. That's it for me. Nomad Brad signing out. Peace.